Hey everyone, it's Tim here. We're back. We're doing a bit of Sokol programming, and we're going to so we've just set up a little application shell using Sokol app. And when we hit make run, we get a little application. We hit escape, and it quits the application. And you can see here this is the main program. We're setting up a window, and we've got some callback functions which don't do much in the callback function except the event one where we check the escape key and we quit the app if we hit the escape key. So that's all we've got. So now we're going to jump across and we're going to actually do some graphics. So we've got this Sokol library, and what we want is this graphics one, Sokol GFX. And what we probably just want to do is just the hello world of like just draw this basic triangle. There's a sort of example here. So yeah, that's what we're going to try and get going. And here's the example code here. So we'll probably just use some of this code here, and we'll get it set up. But the first thing is we've got to get this Sokol GFX file. So we can just jump across into here, and we'll hit raw. Okay, and yeah, there it is. So what I like to do, just to make the updating. So I'm actually installing these dependencies, single file dependencies in the steps folder for dependencies. But I just want to create a little make file to make that a little bit easy. So let's just call this Sokol. And what I want to do is get that. Okay, but where I want the output of that file to go is into the depths. And I'm just going to call it Sokol GFX.h. Okay. Now we'll give that a run, make Sokol, and yeah, look at that. And goes and fetches it. Okay, that looks really nice, and there it is. Beautiful. Okay. So what we'll also do, we'll just copy that one and we'll just do the app one as well, because why not? So we just update this one here to app. Okay. And then, if we come along at a later date, we'd probably check this into Git. And if we want to update our dependencies, we can make Sokol, and it will just go and fetch the latest version of those files. And yeah, we could update it that way. So it's also nice. I sort of have this repo here called single file libs, where I've got a bit of a make file, and I've got all the different single file header files that I occasionally use. So, I can just come and grab any one of these that I want to add as a dependency, and I just add them to my make file, and then bang, I've got that file in my project. So, okay, so that's nice. So the next thing is let's actually look at this thing here and let's see what we need to do. Okay, so in here, we've got to find Sokol implementation. So we've already done that. And we're going to find a backend, which we're using Metal. So watch the app setup if you want to see how we set that up, but you need to define one of the backend that you're using. So if you use an OpenGL, you would use the GL core. I think that's GLES3, I think is the mobile version, but yeah, I'm not that sure on that one. D11, that's the DirectX version from Microsoft. Metal is Apple. WGPU is the web. Yeah, so just include the one that the backend render that you want. Okay, so we're doing this, and then oh, we need this glue. Yeah, rightio. So let's let's just include the file and see what happens. Call GFX H. Okay, let's just make that. Okay, that actually just worked. That's pretty cool. Okay, now, so the glue library, let's go back here to what it says. Okay, depending on your selected backend, Sokol GFX requires some information about its runtime environment, like a GPU device pointer, device swap chain pixel formats, and so on. If you're using Sokol app, which is what we are using for your windowing system glue, you can use a helper function provided in the Sokol glue. Okay, so we need Sokol glue. So I'm going to take a little guess here of where that's located and just put glue here and put glue there. And I mean, yeah, we can just run that command there. Okay. And have we got our glue file? So the glue is, yeah, just a helpful function that sort of ties those two applications together so they don't have to depend on each other, I guess, which makes sense. Yeah, we just need to do this Sokol setup and set our environment. Okay, so let's do that. What do we got? Sokol. So yeah, with these defines, you can obviously define just the one for that particular one, or you just define the Sokol implementation for all of them, which is what we're doing here. So you can see here we've got this Sokol implementation. So let's just include our glue as well. Glue. Okay, so it doesn't like that because I can't spell includes properly. Make. Okay, excellent, that's working. So let's get back to here. Let's yes, set up GFX setup, right? So we've got a GFX, we've got an app, we've got our glue. Now we need to set up the Sokol. Okay, we won't worry about the logging, but the logging, you just follow a similar process and you can set up a logger. But first thing is, let's just set up our Sokol. So Sokol setup, description, and then environment. All right, let's do that. So in our init function, let's go Sokol setup. Okay. And so it takes a Sokol description, a pointer to a Sokol description, which will look like this. Okay, there we go. So that's looks pretty good. So let's make that all still works. Okay. So in our Sokol description, these are all the things we can set up. So yeah, so the environment, we've got a logger, an allocator. We don't really need the logger or allocator at this stage. We can set different pool sizes. We're not really interested in any of that, but this environment. Okay, so this sets up the different like back end sort of environment. So our glue is sort of going to do all that magic, setting up all that for us. So all we have to do is come in here and say dot environment, and that equals SG glue, I think, was it? Can't even remember. Where was it? S glue. Okay, S glue. S glue environment. Is that a function? No. I'm just going to copy that because I'm not sure what I've done wrong. Once again, I cannot spell environment correctly. Okay. And that should be. Okay, there we go. Right, so you can see what it does here. So it basically does a heap of stuff to get the color format, the depth format, color, devices. So it set up all the devices for the particular platform that you use. So yeah, that's pretty cool that that does all that for us. So let's make that. That looks good. Okay. Righto. So let's just go back there. We've set up that. We can set up a logger function. We're not going to worry about that. Okay. Now we need to create some resources. So we can create a buffer, an image, a sampler, a shader, a pipeline, or attachments. Begin a render pass and swap the chains. Apply the pipeline, and then we do a draw call. Okay. So let's just look at the example and let's just look at what they've done in the example. So this, let's look at their init function. Okay, so we've got a We've got a sort of application state here. So we've got a pipeline, a bindings, and a pass actions. And then we've got, yeah, we've got a clear color. So let's do here. Okay, and we've got an SG shutdown. Okay, so first thing I think we just need to shut down. Let's make sure that we're clearing this thing. Okay, let's just make sure that works. Make run. Okay, beautiful. I don't think I need, oops. Don't think I need this hello world anymore. Okay. Right, so let's what we'll do first, let's just see if we can do a draw frame. Let's create a our application state here as I have an example. Okay, and what we're going to do, what we might just do is okay, so let's set up a pipeline. And we'll just call it pipeline. Let's set up the bindings. And let's set up our G pass action. Okay. All right, so we've set up that. Now let's just try and set the pass action to SG pass action. Now, if we look at this pass action object, you can see that it has these colors, okay? And in the colors, there's a load action, which is clear. We can set this to clear, and we can set the color value, clear value, okay? So what we can say is we actually want dot color. Now, because this is an array, if we look in here again, oh, you can see here this is an array. So we've got an array of colors. We set the first color, and in the colors, we can set a dot load action. And the dot load action is SG load action clear, and then we can set a clear value. Okay? And the clear value can be whatever color we want. And this is just an RGB color, so we can just set it to, now it's between 0 and 1. So we can set it to, let's just do a nice light color for a start. We'll make these floats. So we'll just go 0.1, 0.1 F. So 1 is black, I believe, and 0 is white. Is that the other way around? Let's just see. Okay, what have we done here? Oh, this bracket here shouldn't be there. Okay. Right, now we've got that pass action. What we should be able to do with our frame is actually begin our frame, begin the pass. Okay, now the pass takes a SG pass. Okay, and so this is a struct like that. We look at the SB pass and it has a pass action, and we can also have put in a swap chain. So let's put our pass action in here, which is all we want our pass action equals a state dot pass action. This is actually just called action. Yeah, action. Okay. And we can put the swap chains, which we just need to use the glue. Okay. Right. So then we can just say SG npass and SG commit. Let's make that and see if we works. Okay, look at that. Now, if we change our color, just to make sure this is working, so 0 is black, I believe. I think I said 0 was white. We've got black, and we change this to 0.9. This should be a very light white color, very light white. And it is like that, beautiful. Okay, so that's our, we might just go for a sort of a mid-grey. Like that, okay. Actually, I think we'll go, I think we just might go 0.2. Okay. Yep, that's beautiful. Okay, so now we're clearing the screen and we're rendering. So yeah, in the next one we'll attempt to create a little triangle. So I'll see you in the next video.